go. What's going on? It's Big Rossi. It's an absolute pleasure to be down here. Playon Pro for the fans. We have Everton legend, Mr. Trevor Steven down here. Big round of applause. I'm going to go last with this guy. Let's go over with Viv Anderson, obviously Man United and Nottingham Forest. Make some noise for Viv. And former Spurs, Portsmouth, Sheffield United.
You name it. We've got, how long's the list?
Sorry, I've got all these cards are just about your teams. Michael Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you? You feeling good?
What about him?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did that on purpose. Emile Heskey! Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today. Viv, can you tell us a bit about what a Playon Official is all about?
The idea of Playon Pro is getting together, the camaraderie. It's an app that we've formed now. We're doing a platform and we're moving on from there. So we're all looking forward to working together over the few years.
We've got something in common.
Yeah, go on.
We're all retired.
You're all retired. And we're all old.
We're basically old. Yeah, we're done. We're done. But that's the theme of what Playon Pro is.
He's not happy. He's not happy.
Are you not retired?
Yeah, I'm retired, but not old.
He looks so much better than all of us, doesn't he? He's keeping in shape.
Because he's only 29.
So we have some freedom now to
tell
some of the stories, some of the experiences that we've had in the past.
Yeah.
As you said, the players today now, and social media obviously has got a lot to do with this. They're very much more exposed than we were as players. And we did have a more closer relationship, I think, with the fans, you know, back in the day.
A great example was us at Forest. We'd finish training, we'd all go for lunch, and we'd have drinks, we did. And the ones who had to pick up the wives, went on to pick the wives. The younger lads, me, Tony Woolcock, John Robertson, all them, we used to go out and whatever.
Do you do that every day?
We used to, every day training.
What is whatever?
What do you mean? We'd just go out, we'd stay together like a family. It was completely different then.
But we all know that because of the power of social media now, that they do have to be careful. So we can't be too hard on the modern players. But I just don't like this sort of isolation they have on the team bus going there. Everybody's doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Rather than we used to be playing cards and we used to.
Isn't that part of society now? Isolation. Everyone's just.
Yeah. You're getting deep now.
Is that good or bad?
Depends what area you come from.
I think it's bad, me.
But why would you wear headphones?
Too big for your head.
On the team bus. Here we go. No, but like you're walking on the bus, the fans are there. The least you can do is
acknowledge
just give
them.
a bit of eye contact.
Acknowledge them, yeah.
Don't you think?
Absolutely.
Well, Man United, you know as well as I do, the players parked at the car park at the far side, so you had to walk through the supporters to get to the dressing room.
Well, in my day, I remember running after Paul Rideout. Right. You know, running, and Daniel Amakachi running after them.
Did you catch him?
No, he was. Paul Rideout was the fastest actually. He'd go right round everybody and come in the door, and then Dunk just used to walk across the pitch.
Now these days, they get the car dropped off, they go down underneath, and somebody picks up the car, when he wants his car, goes up, and then go. They don't interact.
The gap's bigger now, isn't it, with it, you know, the players and the supporters. Yeah. That's the thing.
So to go back to where we started, you know, we have stopped playing now. You know, sadly, we all have to give up. And we don't want to give up football. We don't want to give up, you know, the sport that we love. But it gives you up. We just get a little bit slower. We get a little bit.
The body tells you.
It does tell you. Yeah. It does tell you. But it gives us the opportunity now to tell the stories and have the chat and the banter that we've all shared in every dressing room. You know, for years and years and years.
It is brilliant, the dressing room environment.
That's what we love about it.
And that's what we miss. If you talk to anybody, that's what you miss more than anything else. You know, the interaction, what you're doing. You're not going to get film. You're not going to get. She's going to go on social media. It's in between. It's between 4 or 5 of you in a bar. It's great. We used
First say you got a shot of Man City, didn't you, in their dressing room with this new programme that they've got, but it. So the stuff that goes on, it'd be interesting for the supporters, wouldn't it, to see what's it actually like, what goes on, the sort of. There's no hiding place in there, is there?
No, exactly right.
It's a tough place to be, a dressing room.
It is a tough place,
and you've got to find your level, don't you? I mean, not everybody's going to be like laughing and joking and be the centre of attraction or the attention. Some are quieter. I was very quiet in the dressing room. I don't think I spoke at Everton for about 3 years.
You've made up for it ever since.
I know.
Some are brutal though. You know, you've gone in and you're thinking, what have I got on? Is my shirt all right? Is anything like that? And you're going in and you're like that. Oh.
I remember getting into the Burnley team. You know, I was 16, 17, and going into the first team dressing room for the first time. And I remember our goalkeeper back in the day, Alan Stevenson. I was the new one in the group, and we were about to go out to train, and the game was the following day. So he sat there and I didn't know what to do really, and he says, right, okay, we're going to do farmyard impressions, right, just before we go out to train. And I'm going, really? Is this what they do? And he goes, right, you start. I looked at me, I go, what the heck? What do I do now? You know, you've got to stand in the middle, and I go, moo, right? And he goes, we can't hear you. Moo. I go, right, it's enough of that game. Come on, let's go training.
So you were the only one?
Only one.
Welcome to the...
Yeah, welcome to the adult world. Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
But it's an icebreaker though, isn't it?
It was humiliating. Yeah. I had to go out and train with him then. Oh my God.
And when you go as a young player to the club, you were very young when you went to Liverpool, obviously. How does it feel to go in the dressing room and like, with all these big players there, the legends or whatever, you know, older players, if you will?
The thing is, when I moved to Liverpool, I'd already played with a lot of the lads there already, so I was kind of used to being around them. Yeah. It's when you first come through, like you're saying there, that's the most daunting one, because when you
first get moved in.
Yeah,
you're
initiation.
not allowed in. You're not even allowed in the first team.
Did you have to get up to sing? Because we tend to do that, don't we?
Is that a thing? Is
Yeah,
it?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done.
What was your song of choice?
Oh, honestly,
Whatever it is, it's very bad.
I did not. And I sang a Kenny Rogers song.
Oh.
Right?
Is that the guy who plays the saxophone? That's
No.
Kenny G, sorry, Kenny G.
No.
I was going to say, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
Kenny Rogers is dead. That's how long ago it was.
Oh, is it The Gambler, that one?
No, it wasn't that good. It wasn't. It was like a bar in Toledo or something like that.
my God.
Yeah, it was horrible. And I was booed off, you know. And I was like 25, 26, but I felt like that, you know. Terrible.
Brownie must have some stories
Terrible.
about that. Go on.
Of what?
When you were
Yeah,
young,
because
you were
you've
getting
been
in
to
the
that
team.
many. How many initiations have you done?
Man
You've been
City.
to many
I've
clubs.
done 74, haven't I? I should be able to perfect this song. I used to just dodge it. I went to Leeds, I dodged the song. They had to
Really?
have a drink in me, then I was
Right.
right.
Okay.
But it was, no, it's some mad dress. We had Sheffield United, they had a senior players' dressing room and then a younger one. When you sign, like, which one can you get in? You got invited into this dressing room. Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be like that, but it just was. Yeah. And if you come in, you had to buy something. Right. So you ended up having a plasma on the screen, then someone would buy hairdryers, someone would buy a disco ball. So literally, Neil Warnock just let it go. It was incredible. He just kept bringing all the things that were in there, all the different hair products, different things, different. It was a candy floss machine or something, like ridiculous things for the dressing room. Right.
Chef Neil Warnock, he was a bit of a madman though, wasn't he? I remember seeing that video of him just shouting at the players. Jags was in there. Yeah.
Jags was good. He's not recovered since for that. Neil just shouts a lot, especially, you know, I tell us, I can't say, I can say it now, because he's still shouting at you. Like, the game's finished, he's like, and fucking you, how did you get done on that fucking goal? And he's bent over, putting his pile cream on. And he's still telling his story. And it's fucking, you know, but these are things in the dressing rooms you don't see.
Can we talk about managers? What type of manager do you prefer?
In my experience, all the managers were a bit shouty.
Right.
In those days, because it wasn't so technical. It's kind of when you were playing at a professional team, you would just set up as a team and told to go out there, just give your best, work harder than them, win your tackles, win your 50-50s. And that was how the game was sort of driven. Now it's very much more technical. But when you go into the dressing rooms, at half times, you know, all the managers that I played for, particularly Howard Kendall was very vociferous at half times, you know, and he would let you know. He would let you know if you're not doing it. And then Graham Souness I had as well as a manager. My goodness.
His tackles were as harsh as
you had
yours.
Graham. Did you not have Graham at Liverpool?
Well,
he
I
was
can't
aggressive.
imagine Gerard Houllier.
No,
Was he a
he
shouter?
was a sort of manager that was good for me because he would just put his arm around you and all that. But I had Martin O'Neill, who was, yeah. You don't mess with him. Yeah. A lot of the lads tried,
Right?
But no, he wasn't a particularly aggressive guy, but he demanded respect, and you did. You knew.
So my first one,
Yeah.
I moved from Arsenal to Man United. So it was Sir Alex's first signing.
Right.
So
You
pre-season.
were Sir Alex Ferguson's
First signing, yeah. So I came up
You are
alphabetically.
getting on a bit, aren't
Yes, sir. Me and Brian McClare came together, but I win alphabetically. So we played Hartlepool's away, right, in the pre-season. So it was first pre-season, right? Everybody's heard about the air dryer, but never seen it, right? So the team is Chrissy Turner in goal, me right back, Kevin Moran, Paul McGrath, Arthur Albiston, Gordon Strachan, Brian Robson, Norman Whiteside, Jesper Olsen, Mark Hughes, Brian McClare.
Hold on, how many players was that?
We're 5-0 down at half time. So the table like this, he goes whoosh, hot tea, everything in your face, all down your gear.
Really?
And he goes into everything. Manchester United player, the veins of his neck's coming out like this. It was incredible, incredible. So he goes around the line and he goes to Paul McGrath, and as for you, and he goes, and Paul goes, don't shout. Don't shout, I'm only here. We're like, oh my God, just get your bollocking and just get off, Paul. No, within 3 weeks, Paul was gone.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's what I like. We had Steve Bruce at Wigan. Yeah. So I think he's obviously learnt that from Sir Alex. And going round. And I remember Emile and Mario Melchior saying, Bruce, he'll kick off at half-time. Don't react, because he wants someone to bounce off.
Really?
So he's come to me at half-time about not going with someone. And he's going, and you? And I'm just like this. And he's raging, and he couldn't get it. And I remember them all saying, don't say anything. Because he's just looking. Paul Sharner, couldn't help himself, could he? Me, not you, fucking you. That was it. And he's off just for that reaction. He wanted someone to get off. And he must have learned it when you're saying about going round. Doing that press.
Let's talk about on the pitch, right? You know, obviously I play football every Tuesday with a load of other lads called Fat Dad's Football, right? And the one who you tackle someone and the one who gives you a bit of banter, or is it the one that you hit and they run off quietly? Which one of those two have you got to watch?
The banter that actually goes on the field.
Yeah.
And the chat. Wimbledon. You know, when had the music blaring, you know, that sort of basic stadium, and Vinnie Jones and Big Mick Harford.
Big fashion.
Oh my goodness. You know, the banter in there.
Like, the banter on the pitch is good. Yeah. I don't think that happens now because the cameras are on them. They hardly seem like they can laugh and relax. Yeah. But we'd be laughing at, even your opposition, something happens, someone fall or something, and you're saying, what about that? Well, shit touch, whatever. Do you know, like... And that doesn't seem to happen now.
Referees as well. So Midge, you remember Midgley? I said, you're having a beast, you, Midge. He goes, oh, better than you, though.
He was good, Neil Midge.
He was class. You could say things and he'd cut it back. Yeah. Now people upstairs marking him and going, oh, he shouldn't be doing that. Yeah. Shouldn't be doing this. A completely different way.
Are there any sneaky tricks? Because I always remember a story about Dennis Wise. You know, when you'd go down on the floor, and he'd pick you up and he'd pull your arm hairs. Is there stuff that goes on like that? Or?
Only him. He's done it a couple of times to me.
Really?
Like when
Emile was bad for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, right. When you're on the floor and he's pretending that he's helping you up and he'd pinch underneath you.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Then you throw your arm and you're off, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's all it is. It's just a game.
I always tell you an early story. When I must have been about 19, got in the first team, they're playing Fulham away. So is George Best, Rodney Marsh, all them. So all night I'm thinking, George Best is not taking the piss out of me this afternoon. Yeah. So I couldn't sleep, get there. So I'm waiting for my time to go and twat him so hard you wouldn't know. Right. And it comes about a minute before half time and I go whoosh and he goes whoo, like that, falls down. And there's murders now. Trying to pick me up and all sorts of, you know, when I'm trying to make sure I make my claim on George Best because he's his George Best and he doesn't want to play. It's those things that you get in your brain all the time, going through. You know, you'll be doing the centre forwards, centre offs.
Yeah. The thing is, back then you always had at least one chance to kick someone, and you got to get it right. Because after that,
I cannot see him kicking anybody.
Yeah.
Really? Were you a bit dirty?
No, it wasn't
Not
dirty.
straight away, but then it just sort of, you just see it switch.
As well, you know, when you're as you're obviously a defender, when you're an attacker and you know that you've got that 50-50 header, I love them. Not because you've got to state your claim on the pitch, haven't you?
You can't even risk a tackle now. I don't think you can actually go heavy. It's really, they don't even mean it now, but you're off. That even just that leaving the ground or
You
leaving
talk
that.
about tackles as well, like, yeah.
Now it's different though.
Hang on. You kill anybody.
No, we used to fly in.
He'd be up every 2 seconds. No chance.
I do remember one, I don't know if you were there, West Ham, Lee Cattermole I played next to. Cats was Scott Parker and Noble. Right, so literally it was going and I could see Cats getting irate. He'd got one on him. He goes, right, come on then. So I've gone round one way and he's turned into him. Cats, literally. Finished him, red card, 30 minutes.
I remember playing at Nottingham Forest and Neville Southall at Everton at the time. He puts the ball down for a goal kick, and I've got Stuart Pearce behind me, and he's looking at me, he's laughing at me. He wants to chip the ball up there so Stuart Pearce can come in and hammer me, right? Because I think I'd taken the piss out of Neville before the game. So he's like looking at me, and you're going to get this, right? And all I could hear was the thunder of Stuart Pearce's feet coming at me. Knocked me out, completely knocked me out. Unconscious I was for about 5 minutes. And that's Neville Southall. I've got a lot to thank him.
Talking about fouls and stuff, out of you guys here, who's got the most viewed video on YouTube? Any idea?
Him.
Him, what would you say?
Tackles, he's missed tackles.
Is Michael Brown the dirtiest player ever?
Missed tackles.
100,000 views it's got.
Just a bit slow.
And that's only his family.
Slow, I didn't mean it. I didn't tackle anyone.
Properly, no.
Never touched him, never touched him.
He's just misunderstood, isn't he? I mean, one of those guys.
You talk about that. Cluffy used to say to us, right, your job is to stop him playing. Left winger, fine. So early on, you've got to get one in. You say early on. So the ball goes up to him, you go, Peter Barnes, great example. And I knew Barnesy, and he'd go, Viv, what are you doing? He says, don't like it, Barnesy. Go over the other side. And the other fullback would go, boom, like this, and Barnesy would go, what's going here? Where do I play now? I can't go there. Go and play in the middle there somewhere.
When would that happen now, though?
You're
going to get one straight away.
You get a yellow card straight away, wouldn't you?
Let's talk about the opposite side of it. This man down the end here.
You know, I've never been sent off, have I? I knew you were coming to that. I was just waiting. I seen your eyes look up at me. There we go.
How many red cards? How many yellows?
7, I think.
What? 7 reds?
7. I got away with a few, though.
But like, would you say the game is harder then than it is now?
100%.
Yeah?
100%. You like Jimmy Case and Souness
Physically
and all
wise,
that.
Like, I mean, like, diving, obviously, people, you know, falling out.
Physically, it was far harder back in the days.
It's more technical now, and the game's gone on. It's brilliant what we're watching now, and so quick.
You say it's quicker. Do you think it's quicker? Quicker than when you played?
Yeah, I think so.
Seriously?
Yeah. I saw the transition as I got older.
Did you feel it?
Yeah.
Is that what saw you off at the end?
No, not really.
It's the timing and the speed that they do it at, I think. Do you know, they will wait, and then they go at full tilt. That's the difference.
Do you know the one,
top
one
speed.
thing, and Emile, because he's still been playing recently, the one thing that I would have loved is to play on the football pitches they have now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a snooker
Bowling
table.
Yeah.
God, can you imagine? Remember the baseball ground, Derby County?
Yeah.
Can you
Oh,
remember
yeah, it was a joke.
It was a sandpit.
Hey, Man United was like that as
And
well.
there should never be sand in Derby. I mean, but what?
Tottenham's like that now.
It's landlocked, but there was loads of sand everywhere, and the boys just stopping it. And everything.
We ended up second to Liverpool with Man United, my second season, and all we could do, we couldn't play into midfield players. You had to kick it in the corners, and Sparky used to go bang in the corners and smash centre halves, and we get free kicks and we'd score. Because the pitch was that bad. You could only play in certain areas.
Now it's a heated pitch and all kinds. The game goes on every time, right? Let's talk on For the Fans, Playon Pro. That's what it's about. It's all about for the fans, right? Why are more people going to these YouTube pages that are made by the fans? They're going away from the proper TV programs. They're going to watch the fans' opinion. Obviously, it's important, right?
Yeah, I think it's very important. Why are they going? Ask the young generation.
I think it's because they feel more in tune and more attached to what they're all saying and how they all feel about the game, rather than
It's a platform for them to have a view, isn't it?
Yeah, but 4 people sitting down and they don't necessarily understand how they view it or how they feel about it. So they actually would prefer to speak about it themselves, how they saw the game, you know, and it's funny that because I do watch some of them channels on YouTube, and it's funny if you compare the two, you actually get two different analysis on the game. Who's right? Who's right? We don't know, but it's interesting to see it.
Does it get annoying for you when you have this analysis like directed in front of your face all the time?
No, I think we need to embrace it.
Which analysis?
Just like fans giving you their opinion of that.
Not really. I think it's interesting to hear from the fans actually at times. And
Sorry to interrupt you. When you were a player, say Wigan or whatever, would you look at your phone and say what people have said about you after a game?
Viv, I don't think we had it back then. It was in his infancy.
I think all the players do. I think all the players are reading it, and they've got to be careful with it because some can't handle it. You know, the criticism side of it.
You don't
some
need to be
struggle,
on it.
But they just, it's on it, and it's
everywhere.
everywhere.
But you don't necessarily need to be on it to be thinking, because before we used to have it in the newspapers and it was plastered all over the newspapers. But now you've got it in your hand all the time, 24/7, and people have access to you.
Can fans change the club if they get on your back?
100%.
Can they?
100%.
They're dictating now that they say, well, the supporters aren't going to come. We must change this. We must change that. They are talking. They can be heard. Everything with social media.
But Playon Pro, and the reason that we think we've got a lot to offer is because we can get close to the fans and with real experiences of what we've seen and what we've done. And I think that's what we want to share. And this is what this is about today, is telling the stories that you cannot have told when you were playing. And now we've got this platform that is going to allow us to do it.
You can only view it on our platform, and that's really important. You're not going to YouTube, you're not anywhere. So if you want to look at ex-players and listen to the stories like we've told today, this is the platform to come and do it. Great example is Kevin Gallen and Steve Hodge. I know you played with Stevie Hodge, but they played together at QPR 20 odd years ago. They both came on the app at different times. Text one of them and spoke to each other for 20 years. So he said, it's great to catch up with you, blah, 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 blah. That's what it's all about, bringing them together.
And we've got another Playon ambassador here. We've got Kit from Fulham. Kit, can you come and join us, please?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Very good, very good.
When was the last time you guys were hanging out?
A long time ago, must be. All of a couple of hours ago, yeah.
Are you enjoying being involved in Playon?
Fantastic, yeah, it's great. And, just listen to the guys speaking, it's all about the fans. And, I think back to my early days at Fulham, we used to go across after the game and have a drink with the fans, and they kept the club going. Yeah. Before Al Fayed come in, the club nearly went out of existence. And those are the people that kept the club going. So to have a beer with them after the games was great. But you don't get access to that anymore, and it's very difficult. So
I'd like to know, Kit, what was he like when you first went to City? He was a young boy there when you were playing. Go on, tell us what he was really like.
A young Michael Brown coming through.
Yes,
him and Jeff Whitley were the terrible twins. Yeah, they were. As senior pros, we took them under our wings and taught them all the bad habits, I think. And they.
So it's down to Kit.
Well, no, not me.
Kit sorted a Christmas party out. We all went in Blues Brothers. We all walked down the high street in all these suits.
Blues Brothers?
Yeah.
Oh, the Blues Brothers?
That was one memory I have.
I wonder which story you're going to tell about.
You got a bit worried there, didn't you?
Yeah, he did.
I was having a panic out there.
How old was he then?
Probably 18.
17, 18. Yeah.
Who was in the team then at City at that time?
Stevie Lomas, Gary Flitcroft, Quinny
Niall,
stood
yeah.
around.
Big Quinny was there, was he?
Quinny stood around.
Al Quinn, yeah.
Oh, TC was there.
Yeah.
Terry Phelan, people like that.
Philo, Curly.
Ian Brightwell, what character he is?
Ian
Bob,
Brightwell, Bob Brightwell.
And it was Man City, is it different? It's obviously different a lot now.
Only slightly. It was a big club. No, it is a big club. Do you know what I mean? It was a big club then, but now it's just, it's gone ridiculous, hasn't it? Where it's at. It's amazing things, the depth of where they're at, and globally now. Man City.
That training ground is something else, isn't it? It's just unreal.
As well, but a lot of the teams are going that way now, aren't they? I think Leicester are spending 100 million on the new. They just purchased 180 acres, and they're going to be building a new complex.
Inside your garden, anyway.
Didn't know they had that many acres in Leicester.
Did you get? It's all your land in Leicester.
Yeah, exactly. He sold them the land. Don't worry about that.
All right, and I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. Are you a big fan of TV?
That's the only show I watch. Forget Strictly and all the rest of it, but I think that's great because I like to see people eat worms.
Seriously, how can they eat that stuff?
Oh no, it's unbelievable.
No chance.
Unbelievable. No.
I'm surprised Harry doing it.
£500,000.
Yeah, was I missing something
Yes.
Would you do it if you had the chance?
I have been offered it before.
there? You've not been
I
offered
have,
it, and you
yes.
turned it down.
Turned it
$500,000.
down. No, they didn't
That's
offer
why
me.
he didn't go. There's the key point. That's what
We
we're
never
saying.
got to that stage. No chance in a million years. Because you can imagine everybody at home going, vote, 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 vote. No chance.
No.
No chance, no.
At least you know he'll go in now, so if the price is right.
No,
You said
no,
the
no,
price.
not even £500,000. No, I'm not going in.
But you do Strictly though, wouldn't you?
No, definitely not. Do you remember seeing John Barnes in that
Yeah.
like his banana? It was like a giant banana.
Right,
Remember
yeah,
that?
yeah.
And I texted him and said,
Yeah.
"What are you doing on
Yeah.
the television on a Saturday night?"
Barnsley can do a lot of things, but he can't dance. You know?
Or manage?
Order.
Yeah, just joking. You know, Tranmere fan. Tranmere fan, second team. What do you want me to say? Trevor and Viv, you both like to watch a bit of TV. I've found interviews that you guys did in a magazine, in Shoot magazine, back in 1983. All right. You're gonna love this, right?
I was 20.
And I was 19.
I was 5.
You were 5.
Okay. We're gonna start with Trevor.
Yeah.
Apparently, your favourite shows were Only Fools and Horses.
Right, still is.
Yeah. And Dallas.
Oh,
Dallas!
Yeah.
The shoulder pads.
J.R. Ewing.
Viv, your favourite actor was Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
Hold that to the camera.
Look at that hair.
Look at the bonnet. Look at that stretch. You can't get that there.
Your
You
favourite
could never
actor
get there.
was Clint Eastwood, while Trevor chose Jack Nicholson. That's quite
no.
cool. And Burt Lancaster.
Oh, come on.
And he's still going.
Is he?
Yes.
I don't think he is.
He is. Burt Lancaster's still going.
When-
Still alive.
When you were asked who your favourite actresses were, do you remember what you said, Viv?
No, go on.
Jean Alexander, Hilda
Oh,
Ogden
yes.
from Coronation
Yes.
Street.
Yes. Yes. I'm a big Coronation Street fan, I must admit. Yeah. I am, yeah.
While Trevor said, I don't have a favourite actress. Any lookers suit me.
Oh, my God. Oh, embarrassing. How
Back to Harry
embarrassing.
Redknapp. I want to do something right now called Rossi's Giants, okay? So this is a section where I get you guys, our professionals, right, to guess a fellow Playon Pro. To guess.
That's easy for you to say. That's all right, folks.
Scouse accent. To guess a fellow Playon Pro ambassador through a series of questions, okay? So no looking. Right, you've got to guess who it is, okay? Here we go. So question number 1. I was born on the 18th of September, 1958.
Right, that would make you what?
Is that you, Trev? No, it's not Trev.
That would make you what? 16.
Anyone?
16
Brian
year old.
Robson.
No.
Alex McLeish.
No. I'm going to go to my next question. I started my career at Newport County where I scored 70 goals in 170 appearances.
John Aldridge.
John Aldridge is right. Thank you. Hello. Well done, Trevor. And the reason I brought this up is because I met John Aldridge when I was working at a radio station previously. My job was to drive the players to the game. So my job was to drive John Aldridge to the game, right? It was Radio City 96.7. And I used to take him.
Good plug.
There's your
Good
plug. In Liverpool. And I had to take John Aldridge everywhere. I went to Stamford Bridge for, I think it was the Champions League semi-final. And he's on the phone in the passenger seat, my job as the driver, you know. And he's talking to his best friend called Anton. He's like, Anton, listen, I've got 150 Italian leather jackets for sale here. Do you want to buy them? And I was like, what's going on here? Well,
You've got to make a living.
Yeah, you got to make a living. I want to say a big thank you to all of our legends down here. Michael Brown, Viv Anderson, Trevor Stevens, Emile Heskey. It is Play On for the fans. Thank you so much for joining us, guys.
Pleasure.
You're welcome. You're welcome.